Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today is Takeoff Tuesday. It is September 1st. And as of right now, we have 48 participants on the line. Make sure you text your team, reach out to your team. We don't want any ICMs left behind. Today we get to learn from Bill Predebon. I'm so fortunate, I'm so grateful to have gotten to know Bill over the last several years. And I miss seeing you, Billy. It's definitely been weird not meeting with you regularly for the last several months, but hopefully soon we'll be meeting again. Bill is just such a great example of what it means to be a leader and what it means to be a product of the product. He has been very successful with both sides of this business, marketing and real estate, and he has been involved with Renatus for around 10 years. So he's got a lot of experience to share with us. He was a pro skier before Renatus for 10 years in Vail, Colorado, and really he realized that he wasn't qualified to do much else. So then he bought a couple of stores and he owned a franchise. Due to lack of knowledge, that ended up costing him the business. He lost everything. In 2007, excuse me, he heard about real estate investing. He didn't have education, so he attempted this on his own. And that resulted in he was in debt in over $400,000, and that was due to the 2008 crash. What a time to be getting into real estate, but also just not really knowing what you're doing without this education, without the support of a team. So after that happened was when Bill found Renatus, and he ended up making 8 times more in his first year alone than he did before as both a realtor and a loan officer. And ever since then, Bill has completed over 150 deals, a lot of them in the Phoenix area, a lot of them outside of Phoenix, just around the nation, and just a really great mix of different types of transactions. Bill has grossed multiple 7 figures in real estate, and he's also a marketing leader. I mentioned he's on the PIT team, meaning he's in training to be on the PAC, the President's Advisory Council. So again, we're very, very fortunate to get to learn from Bill this morning. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Keely, how's it going?
Doing great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I never know if this is going to connect properly and perfectly. I set up a new microphone, but because remember there was a couple of people that were like, oh, I kind of hear some background or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you sound good right now. And I remember hearing a little bit of noise in the back, so it sounds much better.
Awesome. Where is your blue hair?
It's hanging up over there.
Girl, you look good in that picture.
Thank you.
I mean, you always look good, but that was a great picture.
Thank
you guys, I don't know if you guys make sure you friend the Keely Beals here and follow her and take a look at that picture. That's awesome. So Keely, thanks for doing this. Thanks for getting up every day and starting your morning off right with us and helping us all out here. I know everybody on the line loves being able to get on these calls, and I know I do. I listen to Michael and Dane and Wanda every time I can, and you know, I used to listen to Christian before I got to Tuesday, and John O'Neill started this thing a long time ago with Michael and and Christian, and it's just been a godsend for me. So I appreciate the people that help put it together, and you are a big part of that, as well as the whole Elevate team leadership. So thanks so much for all you do for the entire community, girl. It does not go unrecognized. You are amazing. Yes, Sue, you're absolutely right. Right on. Yeah. Tamara saw it too. So this is going to be a fun training, you guys. All right. I'm so excited. I want to take a special thank you to all of you for allowing me to take the week off last week. I am grateful that you are not mad at me and are here today because I wasn't here. It was literally my anniversary on that day, last week, Tuesday. And to be honest, you guys, most of the time, Michael says this all the time, celebrate the event, not the day. And that's typical, but I was just decided not to get up on Tuesday morning up in Sedona and get on this call. I did get on the call with Michael on Monday morning for a little while, but I want to thank Michael personally for taking over. And, I didn't personally get someone to take over for me. And he volunteered when I let him know I wasn't going to make it. And so that was cool. Thanks, Deborah. I appreciate that very much. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be with you guys. I'm stoked to do these calls. So tell all your friends, it's going to be killer. So, and there's a little kitty cat. So check it out, you guys, couple things. number one, and some of you might have heard this on the call, and I'll go into I really want to. So remember, okay, I got to remember where I'm going. 760-533-3141. 760-533-3141. Thank you, Keely. That is my personal cell phone number. Just a disclosure, I don't always get back to everybody right away just because my phone blows up some days. Yesterday was insane. Like I had calls, meetings I even missed. It was funny. I was going to meet a contractor at one of my properties, and another contractor was driving to my house, and I was texting the wrong contractor. And I was like, oh my God, that's the contractor I'm supposed to be meeting. And he's coming over here. And it was just a nightmare. Not even a nightmare. I was just busy. So sometimes I miss, but just hit me back up, call me, text me, leave a message, and I'll be sure that I don't delete the message until I call you back. Or if I haven't texted you, it gets buried, and just text me back. All right. Cool. So that's me. Keely, you were talking about me being a pro skier and then, getting started in real estate in 06. So my wife, Sherry, bought a house by herself. Obviously, she still has a great job. It's not even a job. She's a consultant now for a major company. Her sales in Arizona are over $1 million a month. And she's compensated for her gross sales, but she's not a salesperson. She's a consultant. It's very unique. She's a speech language pathologist. Well, she owned her own clinic in 2000 to 2007. And before I met her, before we got back together, she successfully sold that clinic in 2007 in the height of the market. And actually made money. Unlike me, where I was giving people money to take my business, she was actually making money selling her. So she's a much better business person, you guys, than I am. I swear to God. So check it out. So she had this house, she had it built, and when we got back together, it was being built, and we almost backed out because it was just taking forever because the market was crazy. And we moved into this house. And I'm going to make this quick. I can make it all hour if I wanted to. I mean, if you want it, but I want to get to some cool stuff, what we're doing. This is the whole point to the story is this. I got to preface this so I'm not just wasting your time. The potential of Renatus is these two stories I'm going to tell right now. The reality of why you want to market the education and why you can get past any fears of telling people about this education, especially if you don't feel you've been like honestly, I don't feel like I am as successful as I should be. I constantly compare. It's a bad habit of mine. I constantly am not grateful enough for the things that I have done and accomplished and have. Okay. So those are just some of my weaknesses. And my wife points them out quite a bit, right? Not quite a bit like nag, but like just notices that I live in this state of constant, trying to improve. Right. And it's not always the best state of mind to live in. So, but if we have that fear of, I haven't done anything, I haven't done enough, I haven't been successful, it's been a couple years, it doesn't matter, guys. Okay. Cause this is the thing. If you care about people and you feel like Renatus can benefit them, this story I'm telling you is it. And so, when I got started in real estate, there's so many facets of this story. I became a loan officer, if you remember, 2006. Remember, I told you guys, I got the job and my wife drove with me to the meeting. And then I come out of the interview. I'm like, I got the job. She's like, Bill, they hire anybody for a stupid loan officer. I was like, rain on my parade, right? I was like all excited that it was my first job ever. She's like, they hire anybody for a loan, which is true. They do hire anybody for a loan officer. So then I realized that being a loan officer I was making okay money, but not nearly what I thought, because I didn't realize the market was moving. And this is so funny. And so I get my real estate license, right? And in fact, it was my wife's idea. I'm giving her far too much credit, but we both got our license in 07, and I started using it to just take people around to make money. Like I was taking people to rental properties, right? Because they were losing their houses. It was crazy. I didn't even know. But I thought I was brainy enough that I was like, honey, after I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And so this is the thing. This is your client, because clients nowadays don't even have to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They can just follow stuff on Facebook. bigger pockets, all this stuff. And they are real estate experts. And this was me. It was, I thought knew what I was doing. Fortunately, for some reason, because it probably wasn't my house, I decided not to take money out of the house. Like, not that it was my decision, but encourage her or persuade her to take cash out. I just said, let's refinance into this this stupid mortgage, so that we can cash flow the property or lower the amount of negative cash flow. And let's go buy this big house, and let's go buy this big house with your money and credit, because I had none. I had nothing to offer except my self-proclaimed expertise in real estate. And we buy this house, and we closed in March of 2007, this big house, right? And our bills tripled because of the new truck, all of these things, like the air conditioning, every utility bill, adding these bills. And then we had this other house. And so this was her home, and she bought it 80% down and a 20% borrow payment, 100% financing based on her credit. And the payment was around $1,600 a month, roughly. And back then the rents were like $1,100 a month. And then, and there were two HOAs that are around $225 a month, call it $200 a month. And so, if you can imagine, people have ideas on what they learn, and they start to do real estate. And I didn't know that the market was going to move, and I was ignorant to the market. And within a few months, as you guys know, that house was worth less. We bought it for $250. She bought it for $250. It was worth less than $180,000. I'm sorry. It was short selling for less than $100,000. Okay. And all the comps in the area. So I'm going to fast forward the story now. When I started with Renatus, one of the classes I studied multiple times, probably a half a dozen times. And Bob Snyder just said and you heard me some of you may have heard the webinar last night, but I wanted to give you guys some details on this as I get into this training today on some of the things that I'm doing, posting. And then if anybody has a comment, question, or thought, you can interrupt me, and we'll go in whatever direction is important to you and not me. Okay. I just come up with these trainings because I got to have content for you. Otherwise we'd all be sitting here in silence. But if you have something that's important to you, that's more important to me. What's important to you. Okay. So we get this house, right? And studying negotiations, I understood that they were not going to foreclose. Now, I also understood mortgages. I also understood foreclosures, forbearance, right? Forbearance, bankruptcy, foreclosure. I went through bankruptcy, but I didn't understand it because I went through it. I just paid an attorney like $3,500 to file personal bankruptcy for me because of my personal. Had I understood bankruptcy, you guys, I would have never filed bankruptcy. There's no way Nike and Bauer and LA Fitness and all these companies that my company owed personal guarantees or owed money to, that I personally guaranteed. I had over $2 million of outstanding personal guarantees that roughly added to about $800,000 of actual borrowed money from the company on bills that we had, invoices we hadn't paid on our equipment that we were selling, right? Something like that. And I wasn't the only personal guarantor, right? So it was me and my partners. And so they would have never sued me. I had nothing to gain. They would have never sued me for that money. But I took my lawyer's advice and I filed bankruptcy. Had I understood the bankruptcy class, I wouldn't have done that. It would have saved me tens of thousands of dollars in interest and long-term credit damage that you don't want to ever have experienced. Okay. So you guys, we don't understand the power of the Renatus education. So this is you talking to somebody that you love, that you care about, that you know at your work, and you're afraid, for lack of a better term, to talk about this education. So understand this. They are going to do what they're going to do in their world and their life, regardless of you, right? Regardless of whatever. They're going to try to do a real estate deal. They're going to file bankruptcy if they have to. They're going to get divorced. They're going to sell their primary residence to make up the divorce. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And they're not going to be educated. But if you can introduce them to the possibility of what's possible in this world, based even on this story, then your sales will increase. Your ability to market Renatus and believe in Renatus will increase. So I have this house and we're negatively cash flowing it, right? And I should have quit, because right off the bat, the first tenant that I put in there, I never rented a house before. Anybody ever heard these nightmare stories, right? Never rented a house. So I'm becoming a landlord, which I have no expertise in whatsoever. And I hire some guy through a referral. I let this guy in based on meeting him and my intuition. I didn't know anything about background or anything. Not that it really mattered, but to this day, I actually go off instinct. I don't ever shake an application, and I don't ever take an app fee. I don't ever go through any background checks with my people. And I have had people in my units for years, but I learned from the stupid classes and a little bit of my own experience. So check it out. This guy goes to jail, had somebody subletting it, missed out 4 months rent. What did I do? Not evict. A, because I didn't know how to evict. B, I didn't want to pay an attorney because I didn't have any money. C, like it was my fault. So I'm trying to fix the problem for my wife in this negatively cash flowing thing. So now I'm paying like $2,000 a month on this house for 4 months when we didn't even have any money, right? So I'm making money in 08, but it's going, part of it's going to this stupid house. And plus we're upside down in this other house. It was just an absolute nightmare, right? And I could have quit, but I finally got him out of there. And I had to determine that I was going to have a better person. So I raised the rent to get less applicants and not rent it as fast, but rent it better, right? And I got a better applicant in the house, right? And I got someone that actually turned out to be, I enrolled him in the education. He's a true friend of mine to this day. We play golf together. I've known this guy for 10 years, right? They lived in the house and raised their kids in this house for 4 years. And I learned it from, I watched Chris Wilson, right? Chris Wilson used to teach the landlord class. He taught the class on buy and hold. And it's so good. And like, these are classes people don't think they ever need to do. It's not, why would we pay money to learn how to rent out our own house? Like no human, we all know how to do it. I can change the tire, right? Like that's just what we have. So we finally get this place rented. Now remember, 2010, it was hitting the fan. Like our bills were at one point like $13,000 a month, okay? And Sherry went into the schools when she could have relaxed and figured out what she wanted to do. She actually wanted to be a real estate agent. And I took that away from her because of the position I put us in. And she went into the schools to go work. Now, I promise you I'm going to get to some training today on where you can apply this in just a minute. But bear with me on this because there's multiple things that you can take away, in my opinion, from this and be confident in being able to tell people about some of the classes that aren't fix and flip and wholesale. Okay. So these are things that people may not go out and well, that's not true. They'll probably go out and try to fix and flip a house, and depending on the market they're in, without any knowledge. And they might get lucky and be that one, or they might get unlucky and be one and done forever. And they're going to have a bad taste. But you can help people hold on to a rental property, which is their primary residence, and still be able to buy their new upper, better house with their family growing and be a part of that by sharing this education with them. And they may never flip a house, but they will make hundreds of thousands over their lifetime and pass on a house to their family because they didn't have to sell their primary residence. All right. If they learn to do it right and be the right landlord. Right. So the market crashes. Right. And we didn't buy this property to hold it for 10 years. She was going to live in it. I should have just, if I never convinced her to leave, we would have been fine. Her credit would have been good. We would have had money. We would have been able to buy houses in the downturn, all kinds of stuff, right? But we were stuck with this alligator and we couldn't sell it. It was upside down. I would have had to force her to do a short sale, which would crash her credit and probably crash our marriage, right? And so one of the classes I studied was understanding mortgages, which I knew, understanding bankruptcies and foreclosures, as I told you, understanding the positions of banks in arbitrage, right? And understanding liability versus asset for a bank. And I was able to leverage the bank knowing they're not going to foreclose on this house. They didn't even, they were not in a position to take back this house. And so I stayed current on the first mortgage, but I convinced my wife that we would ding her credit a little bit and we would go 2 months behind on the second mortgage. And so we missed 2 months and we continually paid 60 days behind, which the second mortgage is never going to foreclose. And I learned how to modify mortgages. And in fact, I made money modifying people's mortgages during this time. And then I also modified the first mortgage on behalf of my wife, right? It was in her name. And I negotiated the second mortgage, which was 50 grand. I negotiated it for $2,000. And I sent a check for $2,000 to the bank, to Bank of America, and we reduced that. Now you fast forward, I was able to because I got lucky as crap, because I put it on an arm and the interest rates fell, as you guys remember, the market started changing. The government's putting in all this benefit money, this bailout money and all this stuff. The mortgage actually reduced. The arm adjusted so low because it was based on the LIBOR. The LIBOR was so low for the economy to try to get stimulated and all that stuff. Like our payment went down to like $700 a month. It was actually paying for itself for a while. So I actually had good tenants in there. The thing was actually cash flowing if you want $100 or so a month, and it became something of value, and we got through it. To this day, we just extended a 30-day to quit notice to our tenant. They moved out. My wife and I went up there this past weekend, and we're putting in probably less than $5,000 worth of work, and we're going to sell the house for roughly $280,000. It's the first time over the last year, 2 years, that it's ever been over $250 what she bought it for in 12 years. And because someone was paying down the mortgage, and because we had renters in there, and because the market has changed and we're in a market that goes up and down, and it's up and it's a high market, and this is not one of our best rentals, as you guys just heard, we're selling that house with $100,000 of equity in it, and it's going to basically pay for the RV we just bought. Okay. And so now we have an asset, or a liability, if you want to call it that. We're going to turn it into an asset because we are going to rent it once or twice a month. And we will then be able to write it off. So as you guys know, so we will rent it a little bit. And if it gets wrecked, we'll just buy another one and a better one. But this one's pretty bad, pretty nice. And but we're going to have it free and clear. And it's going to be something that we're going to do, right? We're 50 years old. It's something that we're going to enjoy. It's not, and here's the point, like, it's only been 10 years and we went through all that stuff. Now I'm going to fast forward. If you got any thoughts or questions, I'm checking this chat, but here's the thought. I met with a guy yesterday, and somehow, some way, he learned on his own to buy property. He's been buying property since he's a teenager, since he was in his early 20s here in Phoenix, prior to the real boom of Phoenix, like 2000 to 2003. He bought a couple houses around the corner, and we're talking about $30,000, $40,000 neighborhoods. He's Hispanic. His name is Caesar. I was introduced him by one of my people that I enrolled. His name is Jim, and it's one of his contractors he's worked with forever. So we're inviting him into Renatus, and turns out during the crash, because he had money and credit during this boom, right? He made some money selling a few houses, bought one from a neighbor for 30, sold it for 130 in like 4 months. This is like 2003, before the market went up. Then he started, and now he's 44. Then he started buying houses. He's been buying and selling houses for 20 years, right? But he got lucky, 15 years, whatever. And not lucky, but I mean, he self-taught himself, but he had money and credit during the crash. And that's what I talk about all the time. And he was able to buy over 20 homes. He bought multiple houses, he says. He owns 16 houses right now at the age of 44, free and clear. He's cash flowing $20,000 a month, okay? Now, he's a contractor, so he's had a good job. Robert Kiyosaki talks about having income, making more money at the end of the month than you need, and then paying those into your assets, which is real estate, right? We all know this. You benefit from the tax. Now, he has a lot to learn about tax strategies and saving on tax, and he's making good money, but he doesn't understand the whole dynamics, right? All the supporting classes that Renatus has. But these two examples are what, like, I'm listening to this gentleman and I'm jealous. I didn't even have the vision. I bought a house for $5,000 in 2009 over the phone off of a flyer. And I didn't keep the house. And that house today is worth $200,000, right? Had it been fixed up. He kept them, and he went into long-term and he rents them out, and he bought them all for under $40,000. And in Phoenix, that's a lot. Every one of those houses has got to be at least 140 to this day, right? If he was to try to sell them. He's sold multiple. He just sold one house, made $100,000 on it, bought his wife a Cadillac cash. He said, "What car do you want? I'll buy you any car." Because this is what he said, you guys. He goes, "We were flat broke." He said, "I took every dollar I made, every dollar I had, they had money in the bank for selling several houses pre-boom." And he goes, "I bought all the houses." He goes, "I bought everything I could." My wife was like, "Oh, great. Now what are you going to do? You got no," I'm joking, but you know what I mean? She's like, "Shit, we usually have money in the bank, and now we have no money. You spend it all on these houses. What are we going to do? We got all these houses. You can't take anything out of it." He goes, "Don't worry. When the market moves up, I'm going to sell a house. I'm going to buy you the car." And sure enough, 3 years later, on this one house. He sold it and bought her a car just like a couple months ago, bought her a brand new Cadillac Escalade, right? My point to these stories is this is the kind of thing that most people don't have that story, okay? They don't have that luck. They don't have that vision. They don't have that fortunate instance. They're the opposite. That's why America's in the 99%, not 1%. He's in the 1%, okay? So in order to help people get into the 1%, Bob Snyder created this, and you're a part of it, and you could just be an advocate for it, right? You don't have to be the product of the product. Like, don't get me wrong, you're going to work the product, and that's not what I'm saying. But in order to tell people, you just have to believe in the product. Like, you have to feel like this has a potential for the people that you're interested in working with, right? So, all right, making sure. Any thoughts, comments, questions? So here's how we go with these stories. Some of the things that I'm doing, I recently enrolled 2 people in an Epics combo, right? Neither one of them is funded yet, but both of them are lining up their funding, and they're both fully capable of funding. So unless they change their mind, they're funding, all right? It's not like they don't have the money. I'm working with a half a dozen people, and lately I've just been posting more on Facebook. And I'm going to tell you this, like, I don't know why we don't post more. And I don't know why, and I'm not a social media guru at all. And in fact, I'm the opposite of that. But posting is sharing, right? And sharing could be verbal or through text and making calls, all right? But I don't know exactly why we don't share more. But some of the stories, and those 2 stories I just told you are cool. Maybe you want more details, but you probably know some people in your upline, some people in your leadership group, some people in your sphere of influence, in your Renatus family, that you know their stories of some of the deals they've done, right? And if you share these stories in detail, and you just called somebody up and said, you know that thing I'm trying to get you into that I keep sending you the videos about, or that you asked about what I'm doing in real estate and stuff like that, let me share with you a story. And you share a story of them, of something that they can relate to, like, or you would ask them, right? The reason Facebook, if you think about it, is so powerful is you don't have to ask permission to share the story, and people will engage in it on their own, right? One of the things that these are little tangents, little thoughts I got to remember that I want to point out, that I use all the time, so that it's not like a specific topic. It's just a quick insert. Michael Huggins was on a call, and one of the things that we have to learn to do is we have to remember to be coachable. And I've been doing this a while, not necessarily marketing, but just real estate and things like that. And sometimes I forget how to be coachable. Sometimes I forget how to be, how to listen. And so, I don't read. Like, I joke around that I don't know how to read. And that may or may not be true this time, because I haven't tested it in a while. but Michael was telling me to read, and everybody reads, and I know that everybody that's wealthy and is famous and stuff, they read a lot. Apparently Warren Buffett reads, I don't know, 8 hours a day. I find that hard to believe, but whatever, Warren, good. That's why you have $800 billion. But I decided to read. I decided to listen to Audible, and I've been reading a book, my first book in a while. Thanks, Keely. That's funny. And
yay, Billy!
I know, right? And it's cool. Like, I'm listening to Rob Sperry's book, and I'm not telling you to read books. I'm just suggesting that you be open to being coachable. And so one of the things that I'm talking about today is that Facebook posts are, right, in my opinion, when I got started, one of my things, my wife, like, a lot of companies are up on hype, right? And stories, and people exaggerate their income. They exaggerate anything, because that's what they're taught by their mentors, right? It's hype, it's rah, it's all this stuff. And we all in Renatus are not about that. We're about abundance and genuality. Is that a word? No, probably not. Genuineness, sincerity, transparency, all the good things in life, right? And that mean well for others and ourselves, and compliance, and just being genuine and authentic. And so when I began telling stories and having success in Renatus, and my wife she'd always remind me, you're not getting up there, lying. You lose money on a deal, you tell the truth. You tell people that it takes time, that it's not overnight success, that, what the struggles are. You just be realistic and real. And so you don't trick people into doing this crap. Right. And so, when it comes to posting, we don't want to be something we're not, right? So sometimes we tend not to post. We don't want to invite people to this opportunity because we haven't done anything, or we're not proud of what we've done so far, or how long it's taken, or how little we've made, or we don't believe in the progress we made. Like, we know that we've studied, we know that we've learned more, we know that we've worked on velocity banking, we've saved some money in interest, we know that we've set up an entity and done structure, and we've saved on some taxes perhaps. And these are things that we believe in and that feel good to us, and we know that are important, and we know they are valuable. But you can't sell that to the public. That's not going to be on HDTV, because that isn't sexy. There's no fast return. There's no instant gratification. There's no monetary value. There's no proof of validation of what this company is doing, why you would spend 20 grand to save $500 in taxes or on an entity because you know how to structure it and not pay an attorney, right? That's not going to sell it. So, we don't post, we don't share. But the truth is that Renatus, if we look at Renatus and we spent a little bit of time, and this is where I'm going with the coachable thing, is maybe take this, not only my advice, if you want to call it that, this training, but Rob Sperry said something the other day to me on the phone, and he studies a book. Like, he doesn't just read a book, he studies a book, right? And he learns from it, and then he applies it. And I'm guessing, Michael and Dane and Nate Lambert, Nate Lambert is a scholar himself, right? These guys do these same things. I'm guessing that most of you do it as well. And you're not like me, but so here's the deal. What I've been doing is really putting out there some posts that I regret to this day, and you're not supposed to live in regret, right? So forget that part of this training. but I wish that, and my wife says all the time, just be grateful for what you're doing, right? We can always move forward. But if I can tell you anything, start now, post more, right? Share more. Don't wait till it's your success, right? Don't be ashamed of whatever it is that you do, whatever it is you've done. And if you haven't done anything, share others, and share it with pride. Don't share it because, I need to share a story and sell. Share it because of this. Share it because it's a demonstration and an example of what you bought into. Like, you spent the 20 freaking grand. Like, you are actually wanting to tell people about what you're studying. But we become selfish and we become self-centered in not sharing because it's about us and what we've done. And it's very difficult. We're not meant to be, and people around us are not self-centered. They may have egos, but we're not self-centered people. We're not, and I mean, we may be, but you know what I mean? We're about abundance. So it's the opposite of what we feel. And so we don't want to share, but yet we make it about us. We want to share this information, but we make it about us and what we've become. And so we hold it back, right? When really it's not the people we're trying to bring into the company and share this information with and have buy the education need to know what's possible for them. And if we're trying to make what we're doing possible for them, then we may never tell them because they might not even want to know or do what we're doing. But they may want to be able to do some of the things that other people in the company have done because of what the education offers. So if you could share more posts, right? When you find somebody's post that made a post about Renatus and didn't say Renatus, but said their success in marketing or in business or real estate, something they've done, and then you see it and you share it, then it becomes your post, right? And then you can comment on that share or tag on that, post on that share. I don't know anything about Facebook, but you know what I mean? And now you're telling a story. And you do this on a regular basis. And one of the things that we have to remember with Facebook and stuff, and what I've had to realize is that, I haven't been doing it long enough. You know what? I don't do it enough. I'm not going to gain the traction. What's it going to do? I'm going to get a sale from one post, two posts. No, forget it. So I just don't do it. Right. But what I've realized over the last couple of years in posting on Facebook, especially since Craigslist is gone, is that over time, I'm making sales. People have been following me for years that I didn't even know followed me. And I literally have someone who I haven't talked to in 6 months, and she bought the full education just based off of coming to one event, one follow-up, and who I was and who she believed I am, and a reference she got from my title gal. And I'd never even met her. She knew my title gal, and my title gal endorsed me, right? And she bought the education. And now I'm working with 6 individuals, 2 of which placed an order, of people from high school who it wasn't like they were in my circle of friends in high school all the time, but they literally, we all knew each other. We all played sports. We all hung out, but we weren't best friends. And we haven't connected really to speak of in 20 something years. Yet now I'm engaged in full-blown conversations on the phone, talking about what we've been doing with our careers, all this stuff. And they're interested in doing real estate and have been for years. And they know it's time. They're in their 50s, they're late 40s, and they are thinking about their future. And they're like, holy crap, I need to change. I want to add. And these people have done well. And now they're enrolling in the education because I am posting. I would have never called them and said, Lori, would you want to do real estate? I don't even have her freaking phone number. But the point is, it's not instant gratification, but start now. Many of you have not been doing this for 12 years. Many of you have not been doing this for 5 years, the marketing even. Many of you are just getting started. And even if you haven't been, you're like me, you can start now. You don't have to worry about what you have or haven't done in the past 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, or 1 year. And your posts will not get any traction in the beginning. You will not get a sale tomorrow. But if you post, be Nate Lambert and respond to the posts and interact with the people and make some notes. And the minute someone engages me, I've been absolutely just telling them this. I have been telling them I can help. And that's it. I can help. Hey, you can do this. I can help. Oh, I've wanted, Lori's comment to me absolutely in the very beginning was, I have wanted to do this for so long. She posts a picture of a foreclosure house. I drive by these houses all the day and don't know what to do. Lori, that's awesome. I can help. Really, Bill, how can you help? I didn't know. I wondered. You know what I mean? I always wondered if you could help me. Another girl I'm engaged with right now on conversations. Watch the video. It's taken some time, more time than I wanted to, but she's busy. All she did was, on this post I made, she goes, very interesting. Hey, thank you. You could do this too. What's so interesting about it? Would you like to know more? Let's get on the phone. I can help. Like them, if they're not interested in watching a video or anything like that, fine. But they're making a comment and I'm noticing it. And I'm doing this on purpose. And I'm not a Facebook guy, you guys. I'm not a great, I like to post because I'm egotistical. I like comments. I like to see posts that have 250 things on them. And I'm like, woo, right? Shout to the rooftops. But Nate Lambert is a Rob Sperry. These guys are marketing people that are, you don't have to be that. I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to get in the groups and I want to leverage people's audiences and make 100,000 in a month. And all these things are great. And maybe we'll get to that. But in the meantime, you just have to do a little each day and post and don't be like me and don't not do it because you're afraid of what you've gotten so far. There's so many stories in Renatus about, there's so many classes. It has nothing, we do not except be coachable and be unselfish and look deeper at what Bob is offering. When Bob has people come up on the stage at nationals for 2.5 hours to talk about making 100 grand in a year, there's a reason. He's not doing it so that, does anybody even remember half the people, 10% of the people that went across there? It was so long and there's so many people. I remember 5 people. I had no idea how many deals they did. I have no idea where they're from unless I know them. I don't know how much money they made, how long they've been in Renatus. I don't remember that crap I mean, there's no way we're not going to remember all that. But what do we remember? That it was a lot of people and that Renatus is having a lot of success in their product. Okay. So with that, we have an opportunity to dig a little deeper and look at the value of Renatus. And you bought it. You bought into it. You buy into it today. You want to sell it. We want to sell it because we want to have the experience in the fix and flip that we've done, right? And imagine if that's the case and you do one deal and you've been doing this for a year and you do one deal. Are you going to talk about the same deal over and over again? No. People don't care about your damn deal. They are not going to. The only person that cares about what you've done and they say, what have you made with it? What is it? It's simply an excuse because they don't have enough information yet. The minute you start telling stories about what is going to help them and what's going to solve, and I know this isn't the training on that, but you guys know the point is that they're not going to, they could care less what you've done. They don't care if you've made $1 million or $5 or no dollars or lost money. What they're going to care about is what is potentially possible for them in their current situation. And by you sharing more stories with them, like, and I'm not talking about stories sell, facts tell, stories sell, right? We all know that. But I'm actually talking about just the concepts, the in-depth thoughts of what Bob Snyder has created. It is not about just having a class that teaches fix and flip. Fix and flip revolves around wholesaling, hard money, and private money, right? Definitely title and escrow. Without a doubt, it revolves around retirement accounts. There's no question it revolves around tax and legal, right? In theory, it could revolve around rehab and land development, which are there. But even more importantly, it could involve around creative financing, subject to, and lease options, because all of these are acquisition strategies or even sales strategies. It could even revolve around buy and hold, because you might end up with a fix and flip that you need to hold longer, right? It's definitely going to revolve around contracts and Matt Sorensen's contracts and private money. There's so many classes that are in depth evolved around the one theory, the one concept, and the one strategy of fix and flip. And that's the depth that Renatus has. And there are so many stories and so many deals that are done that people have done across the country that involve the entire theory and the entire makeup of Renatus. And that's what I mean by a story. Like, it's sell the heart and soul of Renatus. Don't just sell Renatus, right? And making it about us and what we've accomplished and what we've done and how much money we've made is easy to do because it's what people on the surface want to know, because that's a natural instinct for someone to ask. But when we're talking to people and we're literally want to know what they want to know, or we can share, we can sell by sharing immediately. If they're not interested in one of the stories, like the two I just told, many of the stories that we tell on this platform, then they're not interested in real estate. They're not interested in buying. People are interested in stories, and then they're going to want, and then we can actually move them into the other steps of training where, you do the invites and you do the follow-ups and you get them into the system and stuff like that. But I'm just talking about the belief and creating more leads. You've got enough leads. You've got enough people you can talk to, and you can share it without being scared about what we've done. If I think about it, and if I went to an 8, 9, or 10, all right, let's put us on the same level here, right? Because we are no better than each other at all, in my opinion. And I went up to Cody Sperber. Okay. I don't know how many deals this guy's done. He's over 1,000 deals, right? This guy absolutely has multiple supercars. I have 0. Okay. We both have nice houses and live in good areas. He's been investing for maybe 3 years longer than me, maybe 4. I don't know. Much younger than I am. And he's killing it. And he's got an educational program. And if I were to go to Kobe
if I were to compare myself to Cody, or if I was talking to someone about real estate over what they've been able to accomplish over the last 10 years, I fail in comparison. Okay. And if people look at, even if you guys were to break it down and go, oh yeah, Bill's done all these deals, you know, why isn't he retired? Why doesn't he have a sports car? Why all this stuff, right? Why doesn't he have 16 houses paid off? This freaking Hispanic guy who's a contractor has 16 paid off houses, right? So if I made this about me, there's no way I would average $100,000 a year selling this stuff over the last several years, right? No way. It's about what the person can do and what Renatus offers, right? And then I can go into depth if somebody ever asked me. You think when I'm selling education, people go, hey, can you tell me what was it like digging yourself out of it? No, nobody cares what hardship I went through. It's good in front of the room for 5 seconds, right? 10 seconds so people can relate. I can build a little rapport. But they don't want to go through a hardship to get up. They don't want to go through a down to get up. They just want to go up. What's the fastest way to up? What's the fastest way to get to the next level? And we have that. They can skip all the crap that I went through. You all can skip the crap that I went through. I would almost bet that nobody on this call is upside down $400,000 in 2 houses and faced with forcing their wife on their credit or their husband to short sell their houses and lose their credit and get divorced. Now, you may be in some other situation financially, but you're not. We were $100,000 in credit card debt, 40 of which, maybe even 60 of which was in her freaking name at 0% credit cards. And because I was late on making some of the payments, not late 30 days, but late like a week in the turmoil of the thing, all of the credit cards went up to 29 to 32% interest when they were 0% in her name. You can do what I've done and more in 5 years. And the thing is so can your people, so can your friends and your family and the people you're talking to with the right belief and the right understanding. And with you just posting, I'm not talking about, so every day you're going to post, right? You're going to post, the positive crap, right? I don't even know where people get those things. I have to save to gallery and go steal it because I have no idea where people are getting these positive posts and these, great sayings and quotes and all this stuff. And that's good, right? But there's no call to action. Yeah, someone's going to see you being positive and all that's good and you're grateful. But in my opinion, and I'm not saying do this all the time, and you're not going to make a call to action every time, but the posts that I make are to let people know what I do. Why? Because I want to freaking sell the education. I want people to know what the hell I'm doing so that they can be intrigued by what I'm doing. I don't want people to be around me because I'm positive. Now that's going to be a given, but do you know what I'm saying? I can't sell positivity. I don't get paid for that. I get paid for selling Renatus education. I get paid for people that want to do real estate and lend me money. I get paid for people wanting to be a part of real estate, which is what I do, which is what you intend to do and are doing and will do, which is share posts. And then when people comment and like, wow, I'd love to do this. This is great about your friend that did this or whatever they say. You can say, hey, I'm working on doing this too. Do you want to do it too? I can share you. I can help. I can do this. I'll let you know. I can share more with you. What are they going to say? No? Great. What's the worst thing that happens? They watch a video and they're not interested. It's unintrusive. So I'm posting things on purpose. I'm posting things that are going to create intrigue. I'm looking for people, not just to comment on how pretty something is or great job or all that. That's great. Thanks. Congratulations. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Great, brother. Whatever. But I'm looking for the people that are like, wow, like I've always wanted to do this. Wow. Or I thought about doing that. You must really have money to do this or whatever negative or positive comment. When it's somebody letting you in on a little bit of them, and they're sharing a little bit of information with you after following you for a year, you're going to do it. And you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till you're successful. You don't have to wait till you understand Facebook. You don't have to wait till you've done a marketing class on Facebook. You don't have to wait till you studied Rob's class. Do all those things because you're going to be better and faster and have more results and get more sales. Absolutely. But I don't know. I'm just telling you, what I've been doing lately that's having success is being genuine and utilizing the platform that, and that's what I'm doing. Because, I can only I could read books and train on books, but I train on what I'm doing to try to help you guys see what was working for me. And that's it. And so that's why I brought this up, because it's been working lately. I've been quarantined as everybody else. I'm not out in the world. I'm not meeting as many people at my properties. I'm not socializing as much at bars and restaurants and coffee shops as much. So I don't have the 3-foot rule that I used to have. I don't have as many new contacts. So I'm utilizing what's out there right now, and that's this. So that's my thought. 7:59. Raphael, I remember that lady with the 2 mansions and multiple boats. Yeah. Yep. Anybody got anything that you're working on that you want me to wrap this up with? That any questions, anything that would tie it all together, or something you're working on, or something you're even wanting to get off your chest, or need help with, or I can elaborate on, or anything like that? I usually ask that in the beginning, but I know Michael did a great job yesterday. I know Dane Clark kills it when he gets you guys engaged and communicating and stuff like that. And of course, Wanda does too with her mindset, and everybody really getting to, the relator part of this whole experience. But is there anything I can do for anybody that would help you with anything you're working on right now that you've been struggling with a prospect or anything like that? Or are you guys good?
I have a really quick question.
Yes, Lorene, perfect.
I just wanted to know, do you post on your personal page, or do you have a business page that you post on?
Great question. You guys, I have a business page that I set up a long time ago, and I don't use it at all. Renatus is a people business. What I've learned over the last 10 years is that we market ourselves. Everybody out there on Facebook now, once you get to 5,000 friends and it's a major business and a major following and all that stuff, then you're going to create a public person, and you're going to have 60,000 followers and all that stuff on Facebook. You're going to have a public figure, personal business page for yourself, right? Bill Predebon, real estate entrepreneur or something. But I don't have that. What most of us are, the majority of us are, that we're getting, even Nate Lambert himself, it's a personal page. It's Nate Lambert. That's who they are. And we're just, you let people know what your interests are and all that stuff. But yeah, it's personal page. Great question. Personal. Skip the business page in everything. Same thing with Twitter. It's all personal.
Thank you.
Or what was it? Not Twitter. What was I thinking of, Keely? I don't know. Instagram. Sorry. I don't know why I said Twitter. I'm a social media marketing coach and Facebook ads manager if you need help support marketing. Thank you. I will copy that. Cool. All right. There you go, everybody. And that's for everyone. She texted that. If you guys take a picture of that for Raina, she put herself out there for you guys. If you need help, I'm going to put this in there, 760-533-3141. I hope, I could spend more detail if anybody ever wanted to know more. I mean, I can't tell you how excited I would be to be able to talk to every one of you in 10 years or 5 years from now and have some real estate story that you bought it low and sold it high. And you're all going to do that. And you're all going to sell a house and make a couple $100,000 on it if you stick with this. And most people, whether they're trying to learn this stuff or not, are not going to experience that with the right resources, without the right resources and the right education. They won't. The only thing they're going to experience that in is their primary residence if they live in it long enough. And then they have to sell it to realize the gains, because they won't even know to take out an equity line of credit. They won't even know what to do with it. And you will. you'll be able to keep your primary residence and turn it into a rental. You'll be able to buy a property on purpose and not be emotionally attached to it and worry about the fact that you raised your children and you want to pass that house on, and you'll be able to profit from it to be able to give your kids even more because you sold it and turned it into an even better 1031, in long-term investment on some multifamily. Like, there's so much opportunity with the right education if you stick with this and you never learn to quit. And the point to that is that that's the message to be sharing, not what you've done or how much money somebody can make or any of those things, but the potential of the education and what Bob has set up is the true message that we need to get across. And anybody and everybody that I'm seeing that is giving me the least bit of interest, I'm going to share it with them. And if they don't like it and they don't like my message and they don't like the video or they don't like the property tour or they're negative about it, it's okay. Like, it's okay. I'll just find someone who is, because the people that I'm dealing with right now, they're actually interested. The one guy that I struggled with, I spent the majority of the energy with. And he went to my mastermind. I invited him in and he asked the most questions and he asked Dane Clark the most questions. And he's a good person, but he's in a bad place and he's not ready for this. And I don't have the energy for it anymore. You guys can do what I've done and do what most of us have done and drag people through this, or you can go meet more people who actually give a crap and want it. And we have what they want. And they will help you get started. They will help themselves help you get them started. Because it's the right person. And we have the right message. But we have to get it out there and we have to share the right message. And it's not about us. It's not about what we've done or who we are or how great we've been or how many deals we've done or how long we've been in or how much money we made. The guy that asked that question yesterday was awesome for asking it and putting it out there, because it's just a fact that people are going to say that. And people are going to say that to you because they're scared. They don't want to spend 20 grand and they want an excuse to get out of it. And it's an easy one. It's an easy family, friend, or colleague excuse to say, how much have you made? What have you done? Call me when you've had success, because they don't want to see their own damn failures. They don't want to do the work, right? So we just have to not ignore them, not blow them off, but ask a few more questions and really get them in front of the right information. And I promise you, they won't care anymore whether you made $1 or $1 million, because all they're going to care about is what they can make and what they can do and what it can do for them. What's in it for me? Not what's in it for me after you've made money. Okay? All right. You're welcome, Keely. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Chi. Thank you, Raina. Thanks, Jimmy. Raphael, you're awesome as always. Autumn, I love you guys. I just love seeing everybody. Isaac, Deborah, Berta, Grace, Esther, David, Arif, Pete Smalley, what's up, buddy? Mike Lawrence, good to see you. Isaac, everybody on here, thank you very much for being a part of this today. Sue, as always, Tyson, you guys are great. Lorraine, thanks for the question and the thought. Doug and Debbie, I love you, Doug. You guys are awesome too. Bobby Johnson, what's up, brother? Thanks, everybody. GS, love you guys. Kim Morrell, thank you. And I look forward to seeing all you guys soon. I'll see you next week. Tyson, good to see you, brother. Thanks for being on video. It's awesome. I'm glad. Absolutely. And Pete Smalley, there he is. Everybody else that's on the other page is Scott. Thanks for your comments, Scott Buckholz. You're awesome, brother. Thomas Godfrey, love you, man. Maggie, Rick, woo! Scarlett, I could just keep going on. Melissa, Carla, Jimmy. There's Conrad. It's awesome to see everybody here. Ada, as always. Ada, love you, girl. Chuck. Keely, thank you so much. I'll turn it over to you. I'll say goodbye. Grace, Berta, thank you guys. I just really appreciate you listening to me. Kim, you're very welcome. I sure will. I absolutely will. Thanks, everybody.
Love you, Bill.
Day. Make it great. You're welcome.
Thank
Make it
you.
a great day. Reach
Bye,
out to me.
everybody.
All right. See you, Brett. Bye, everybody.